Hello, 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 and welcome back to the BFA Baby podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Hartman, and cheers! Today we are drinking a midday latte on the podcast, and we're going to talk about something really exciting. I'm going to take you through, the nitty-gritty, super exciting, all the details about the making of my dance film. But first, I have a couple things I want to talk about, beforehand. That's a good latte. I made this latte at home by myself. Shout out The Roastery in Kansas City. Not a sponsor, but should be. You will be listening to this way later than I'm filming it, but yesterday was the solar eclipse for us, here, in real time, and we had, 97% totality, and honestly, dude, I was kind of let down. Not to put down the science buffs, but, dude, I was kind of let down by the solar eclipse. But it was fun because I got to, see some of the pals. I got to see the pals, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, me and my pals looked at the sky for a little bit, and we were a little let down, but you know what? Life goes on. Life goes on. So we looked at the sky for a little bit. We're a little let down, but you know what? We did it. And yeah, so leave your solar eclipse experience in the poll. I'll make the poll about the solar eclipse. Also, I'm kind of going against my no caffeine after noon thing. It's really not a great look for me, but that's okay. We have some late rehearsals tonight. I'll be in rehearsal till midnight tonight, so I took a quick little nap this afternoon, and I'm getting some caffeine in me before work, so it's all happening. We're all doing it. It's gonna be great. But yeah, let's just hop right in. There's a lot of things I want to talk about with this movie. I've kind of been teasing it and all the fun things. So yeah, let's talk about it. So my movie is called Caesar on a TV Screen. Obviously the choreography is to the song of the same name, by The Last Dinner Party. They are an all-female girl group, kind of indie alternative. I would argue rock, but I don't know what they'll have to say about it. Let me get my phone. I have something I want to say about them. Sorry about that, I'm back. So The Last Dinner Party wrote a song called Caesar on a TV Screen, and the movie is for my choreography 2 final project. We had to kind of pick an avenue, I suppose, And I mentioned that when I'm done performing, I would really like to start choreographing for movies. So I thought it'd be fun to make a dance film, and just kind of see if I could do it. So I guess we start at the very beginning. I suppose that we start with the inspiration of it all, and I will pull it up because it's a specific little thing that I have to, it's a whole thing. I don't want to misquote her. So I had started listening to the song, and I was really loving it. And then when the whole album came out, Apple Music does these things on the album where you can, they ask the artist about it, and they talk about it. So I was reading that when I was getting into the whole album. And Abigail Morris, the songwriter for Caesar on TV Screen, said the following, quote, "I wrote the beginning of this song over lockdown. I'd stayed over with my boyfriend at the time, and then to go back home, he lent me a suit. When I met him, I just didn't find him attractive. I just wanted to be him. He was also a singer in another band and had this amazing confidence and charisma in a specifically masculine way. Getting to have his suit, I was like, now I'm a man in a band. It's this very specific sensuality and power you feel when you're dressing as a man. I sat at the piano and had this character in my head, a Mick Jagger type. I thought it would be fun to write a song from the perspective of feeling like a king, because you're only like that because you're so vulnerable and so desperate to be loved and quite weak and afraid and childlike." And Lizzie Maryland, the guitarist, added, saying, "There was an ending on the original version that faded away into this lone guitar, which was really beautiful, but we got used to playing it live with the coming back up again, so we put that way back in. The song is very live, the way we recorded it." And I remember reading that because that was like Caesar was the only single that I had heard from the album, and then like the album came out, so that was the first one I read. I was like jog my inspiration about the song that I love, and you know what's going on there. And I was just so inspired by the story. I think it's totally something that like I would see myself in. Like I love men in bands. Not to get like romantic on the podcast, but I love men in bands, and I totally get the feeling. Like Abigail just put it so well. Like I totally get the feeling of just wanting to like be a man in a band. You know, like I get it, dude. And I was really inspired by the fact that, like, he lent her his suit to go home. Like, what? That doesn't seem like something that you would just, like, do. So my movie actually starts with that scene. So dancing are, the only dancer is my friend Anna Schnockenberg, and her boyfriend Major Carden is in it, and that's how the movie starts. It starts with them waking up late, and Anna's like, fuck, what am I gonna wear? And Major's like, oh, just take something of mine. So she starts kind of like shuffling through his closet and sees the suit. And she's like, oh, take anything? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And she puts the suit on. So a bit of a stray from Abigail's experience in which he gave her the suit. I wanted to kind of lean into the idea of Anna's character picking the suit out for herself when given the opportunity. But no, I was really inspired by what Abigail had to say and what inspired her to write the song. So I kind of paid homage to that in the beginning of the movie. So it is a dance film. There's only light acting at the beginning and the end. It is a dance film, and yeah, so I made the shot list on Valentine's Day 2024, and then I made the shot list on Valentine's Day, and then we shot on, let me get my schedule up. We shot the film on April 1st and April 2nd. So this was like the speediest turnaround imaginable. So February 14th, I made the shot list. I was like, this camera's gonna do this at this point, and like all the stuff. It was really important for me to get the shots first and kind of like an outline of what the camera was gonna do, so then I could make the choreography fit what the camera was gonna do. Like there's a part where she like, there's like a little turn, and then the camera turns with her, you know? So like I knew the camera was gonna turn. So then when I was sitting down to choreograph it, I needed like a reach or like something that not promotes but motivates the camera to do the spin. So doing the shot list first was really important, and I do see myself making another dance film, so I think I will continue sticking with the shot list. And it also just gave me a guide of where I was going. Really loved making my little shot list. I felt very professional, signed it, it was a whole thing. So the next thing I did, obviously, was choreograph it. And I got into the studio at like 7 p.m. one night, and I left at about 12:30 in the morning, and I just finished this entire piece. I like finished this whole piece, and it took me a second of choreographing it to figure out what I wanted it to read, and it essentially became like 4 separate sections. It became like, it starts with her like leaving the apartment, and she's just like elated that she's like in this suit and she feels super hot and sexy and powerful. And then there's a moment we get really close to her face, and she kind of is like adjusting and like having a moment and like, oh my god, am I being loud? Am I being too much? Am I being dramatic? And I remember telling Anna in our rehearsal that's like that vulnerability, that's that like, I don't want to say like that female guilt, because that's like super dramatic, but like it kind of is like no man has ever asked himself, am I being too dramatic? Am I being too much? No man has ever been forced to ask himself that, or had enough experiences to where his brain defaults as you're being too much. And then there's kind of a moment where she like, okay, checks in, gives a little saunter. You know, she takes a little break at a coffee shop. Shout out Mama Jean's on, not Mama Jean's. Mama Jean's is a health grocery store. Shout out Big Mama Espresso Company on Commercial Street here in Springfield. It was such a funny thing. I called them, like, that morning, because I wasn't just going to show up with my friends and a camera. Like, I wasn't just going to do that. I called them in the morning, and I was like, yo, we're some students, we're making this film, and we need, like, a coffee shop table. It'll take us, like, 15 minutes max. Do you care if we film in your cafe? And he was like, you're gonna dance on a table? And I was like, no, we're just gonna sit at the table, and it just needs to be, like, the setting. And he was like, yeah, sure, go knock yourselves out, like, and I feel like he was just so taken off guard that, like, these kids were asking to film a movie in his home, and not his home, but, like, in his establishment. Like, it was just so funny. But no, they were super kind. All the patrons, like, were super into it. Like, we definitely made sure to, like, pick up the pace on that one, because it's like, this is someone's, like, you know what I mean. Like, it's a table that we're sitting at, and, like, the whole thing. But no, all the employees were super cool with it. The patrons were really cool with it. So yeah, Big Mama's Espresso Company did a really, really big solid for us on that one. So shout out to them for being really cool and letting us. Shout out for them being really cool and letting us knock ourselves out. Yeah, so she kind of has this moment, and she sits back down, and she has a little reset at the coffee shop. She gets her latte. It's in, like, a to-go cup, though, but she gets her latte, and then we cut into a reset of, like, okay, no. Like, she kind of has this immediate low, and then it's, you know, she has her time to reset, and she comes back up, and she's like, no, I'm not too loud, I'm not too dramatic, I can speak my mind, I can wear this suit, I feel powerful, and is really leaning back into that. So then she cuts, and there's, like, a running. My favorite shot in the whole film is the wide shot of Anna running up the hill, and she's, like, spinning with her arms wide. It's a shot that I had, like, imagined, like, the minute I heard the song, and I was, like, committed to making a film about it, or, like, with it in the backdrop, and it was, like, a shot that I had, like, imagined was gonna happen, and then, like, to see it flesh out, like, exactly how it was in my brain in real life, like, dude, it was so good. But yeah, so she has that, like, elation kind of pop back up moment, and then there's this really interesting moment in the song where they sing, and I'd trade my tongue in just to hear him every night talk about Red Scare and how they got it right. And I heard that, and I was like, that is such an extreme thing, but, like, everyone gets it, you know what I mean? Like, it's such an extreme thing to say that you would trade your tongue in just to, like, hear the person you love talk about this, like, wild opinion that they have. But it's so extreme in a way that, like, I think a lot of people can resonate with it. I mean, I don't personally know anyone that's cut off their own tongues, but it's like it's just that really extreme thing where, it's like, dude, I felt like, so everyone, I think, has felt love or drive or ambition, like, in that way, in that very extreme, like, I would do anything to myself for this person to do something to me, for me, with me, whatever. And I think it's just, like, a really like, it's very extreme, but it pulls at emotions that we all know, and I really wanted to, like, highlight that line. So there is this, I really wanted to highlight that line. So while it's happening, there's this, another favorite shot of the film, there's this close-up of Anna, and it's like this track from her collarbones to her jaw to her ear, and it's just like, she just, like, loving on the camera, and it's just so, Anna is also just so beautiful. So it's, you know, she's just being beautiful, and she's being strong, she's being powerful. There's, like, an up and down, and she sits and rolls, and I really wanted this to be, talk about Red Scare and how they got it right. Like, that's a hot take, okay? Like, that's a really hot take, and I know The Last Dinner Party is from the UK, So they might see it differently than we do in America, but like that's a really hot take. Let me get you a dictionary definition before I historically misspeak. In case you're like, what are you talking about? So Red Scare is the form of public hysteria provoked by fear of the rise, supposed or real, of leftist ideologies in a society, especially communism. This was in like the late 1910s, early 1920s. Fear of like communist, socialist, anarchist ideology. So a lot of like just fear that, and a lot of it was, from my loose history knowledge, a lot of it was kind of like imposed onto these people, and they're like, dude, we're not doing anything to hurt you, but like, okay. And I really wanted that line, talk about Red Scare and how he got it right. Like, that is just like in like a thing, that's something to say, alright. And I really wanted Anna to play into like the audacity of what men say. Like, we've all had a man say something crazy to us. I mean, there's that girl on TikTok that like embroiders crazy things that men have said to her friends like onto sweatshirts. Like, we've all had the guy say the really crazy thing to us, and we're like, why would you say that? Why would you say that? And it's because no one's ever really told them what they can and can't say. They're just like, oh, speak our minds, you know? And I really wanted that to be like a mocking kind of like film bro mansplain moment. And Anna nails it. She's like sitting on the ground and she's like, and she's like throwing her hands over and she's like mouthing it. Like, it's really cute. And I really love that moment. Yeah, and then, you know, she kind of has another freedom moment, and there's a mirror line. So the first line where she kind of has her like sad, like internal, like, oh my god, am I being too much moment is, and everyone will like me then, everyone will love me. And then that mirrors again at the end, where instead of being this kind of like quaint, internalized thing, you start to, I mean, she's running, she's frolicking, as we said on set, she's frolicking, and she's like super happy and super jazzed, and like having that mirror was also really important to me for the choreography. Yeah, so after breaking down like where the emotional beats were, I kind of choreographed it in like 4 different sections. There was the first section, there was a section at the wall, there was the coffee shop section, there was the like hill section, like the running around. There was like 4 or 5 different sections that I kind of choreographed it in, and then like strung them all together, and I was like, okay, cool, here's the movie. Like, okay, yeah. Yeah, so it was really crazy. So after getting it choreographed and like knowing Anna was gonna do it, and we got Major to be in it. Shout out Major, by the way. He is the most like loving, supportive, like down for it boyfriend. Like, I literally was like, can we just borrow his suit and then we can just use, like, I'll just take all my like stuff off the walls to make it look a little more like a masculine apartment. He's like, oh no, just come in. Like, we used his actual bedroom, and like he was just so supportive and like awesome the whole time, and like was really making it fun, and like it didn't even feel like a project, just felt like hanging out with my friends. Like, Major was such a great addition to this cast. And so yeah, so I knew Anna was gonna be in it, and we are both incredibly busy people, you know, like Anna is also a woman in STEM, and you know, she's busy, and we both work multiple jobs, and it ended up that we only got 1 full rehearsal together before we had to like go film it. And it was really crazy because I had it choreographed, and then I sent her this like 30-minute like talk through video of it, like in very much detail, like here's what it is, and I was like, just come with this known and we can clean it. So we met on like a Friday night, or we went on a Thursday. We went on a Thursday night, and just like cleaned it really good. And it was like this 1 rehearsal, and even though that was it was a lot of work in the moment, and I was like, I really just had to trust that she was learning it, and I had to trust that like I wasn't gonna freak out. As much as like high stakes and like timeline, like shoestring timeline as it felt, I really enjoyed the process, and it was a lot of fun, and it was super chill, and it it's one of those things that, like, felt very low stakes, and it was just a lot of fun. So yeah, we could only get our schedules to align one Thursday before we, like, started filming. We had the filming date set. So we were like, shit, okay, let's go. Let's really grind out this Thursday rehearsal, and then I'll see you on Monday. Yeah, so the turnaround for filming was really crazy. So I actually filmed the entire thing on my phone. This is a Samsung S2E FE, I think. And it has this really cool feature called Pro Video. And it's called Pro Video. Oh, that's me! It has this cool feature called Pro Video, and that's what I used to shoot on. It, like, really crisped up the image. Made the image crisper than just using my phone camera. And that's kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about, how this film was a lot, very rapidly became more than just a choreography final project. It just became like an all-around, I learned so many creative things doing this. The very first thing is I learned how to use the Pro Video feature function on my phone. There was a lot of little technical things I didn't really know about, and like shutter speed and like these things that you can change within the system, like per shot and like what you wanted. So I truly spent like a good week or two just like filming inanimate objects and like moving the camera and making these like fake transitions that I wanted in the movie. So it took a lot of like outside practice of like random stuff. So I did use the Pro footage, shout out Samsung. Not a sponsor, but definitely should be. Not a sponsor, but should be. I just want Samsung to like shout out my movie. Maybe when it's out. Movie comes out May 5th, by the way. By the time you're listening to this, it will already have been out for probably like 2 months, I think. So very exciting. You will have seen the movie. And if you're listening to this now, go back and rewatch the movie. You know, give it some love. Yeah, but so I would like Samsung to be like, this movie was shot entirely by a student on a Samsung. You know, like, just give me some little clout here, Samsung, please. But yeah, so I was learning how to use this feature on my phone, and I was like, great. So I felt really comfortable with it, and I need you guys to understand that the budget for this movie was quite literally zero. The budget for this movie was quite literally zero. And then I was like, oh, there are some things that we do need to spend money on. But I really did some, like, ingenuitive things to, like, cut corners. Like, I had this tripod that I broke during an audition, and I, like, knocked it off this table. It was a whole thing. But I had glued it back together, and now it works just fine. So, like, don't ever underestimate the power of hot glue and a college kid with a dream, I suppose. And then, like, I didn't want to buy a whole clapboard just for this, and I couldn't find a friend that had one, so I took our whiteboard. We have this, like, magnetic whiteboard that we write notes on, or, like, a schedule, whatever, on our fridge. And so I just taped off some grid lines. I taped off, like, scene, take, director, production, and just kind of made, like, a faux clapboard. If you've seen any of the TikToks about it, you've seen the faux clapboard. And honestly, it worked like a charm. I mean, it didn't make the noise, but it was enough to, like, help me as an editor, like, know what was going on. It was honestly a lot of fun. I'm gonna finish off this latte here, hold on. Yeah, so I made this fake little clapboard for it. Not even fake, just kind of faux. A faux means fake, but like kind of a small little clapboard for it. A less professional clapboard for it, but it served its purpose. And then, yeah, so we set up shop. So we had Monday, April 1st as like the big filming day for a while. And what the running problem was, also, so my friend Colleen was going to come in and be an AD, and then she got really sick and couldn't do it, so I was like, okay, it's us now, let's rock. So, we're now a two-woman show, and shout out Colleen, you would have been great, love you dearly, but yeah, so we were a two-woman show now, and just out on Commercial Street by ourselves, and that Monday, we started getting a lot of word about a tornado that was, like, an incoming tornado, and how it was gonna pour rain all day, and it was gonna be nasty outside, and I was like, dude, we don't have time to go back, like, we just have to hope and send some good vibes out there for us. So it actually really worked out because it was the skies were going to start, like, fucking opening up, like, right when we started filming, and I was like, oh, dear God, no. So we set it up to where the coffee shop scene was actually the really first thing that we filmed, even though it is, like, in the middle of the movie. It's kind of, like, the turning point in the movie. And it was the very first thing we filmed because when we were scheduled to meet, it was supposed to be, like, pouring rain. So we're like, we'll be inside, we'll wait it out, we'll film this scene inside, and then it'll be great. So we filmed the coffee shop scene, and, like, it doesn't rain. Oh, this also comes into our first monetary charge for the film. I spent, like, $3.70 something on a latte. It was a cappuccino. On a cappuccino, I chugged this cappuccino. Like, I'm talking, like, throwing back this cappuccino so that the cup was empty so I could slide it. If you do see, my hand is in the movie, guys. I slide the coffee cup to Anna, but I drank this cappuccino, like, so fast, and I slid it, so that Anna could catch it. I didn't want a full coffee cup because then it would spill or whatever, or something crazy, so I just I chugged this cappuccino and I slid it, slid the empty cup, and yeah, I also wasn't gonna, like, walk in with a camera with my friends and then, like, not buy anything, so I brought, like, it was a little fika for me, it really was, like, got there a little early, I drank my coffee, I did kind of throw that coffee back, but I kind of housed this cappuccino, and I ate a little croissant, and it was kind of like it was like a good little pre-shoot fika. It was beautiful. Yeah, so currently the budget for the movie was like $3.70 some odd cents. So yeah, we're in this coffee shop and we're waiting out this, like, pending fucking thunderstorm, and we finish the shot and we go outside and it's, like, bright and clear, and we're like, okay, cool, we're just gonna keep going then. So we start filming the first shot that happens. Did we film? Yeah, we filmed the running shot first, and then we filmed the wall shot. So, well, maybe we didn't because we left to do the running shot okay, I think we filmed the wall shot first. On Commercial Street, there are these beautiful murals, and I wanted a shot against, like, a brick wall. She has this really, like, melodramatic moment. And I wanted a shot against a brick wall, and then when I remembered that on Commercial Street there are these, like, old brick walls that have these really stunning murals painted on them, I was like, oh no shit, we're gonna get one with the mural. So we go to this alleyway that has a mural, and she has the whole thing, and it's like a really melodramatic moment, and it's just, it's such a beautiful shot with, like, her in, like, her dark suit and the bright painting behind her. It's really cool. So we filmed that first, and it's still light outside, so we're like, okay, awesome. So now we film the running shot, and that's the actual the first shot of dancing that you see is the third thing that we ever filmed for the movie. And, she's coming down, and I'm following her, and we're dancing, and all the things, and she's jumping off, like, not a flag, I guess flagpole, light post. It's a light post that has a flag on it. She's, like, swinging on light posts, and it's, like, really cool, and we're leaning, and if you look at the shot that I used, it was, like, the best shot, dude. It was a beautiful take. It starts to rain at the end. It starts to rain at the end of the shot. So if you notice, if you go and watch the movie, you can see as she's dancing, the sidewalk starts to get wet. It starts raining. It's not hard enough to tell in the movie or, like, in her hair or her outfit or anything, but it really, like, it started to rain. So it was so beautiful, though, and the shot, like, nailed it, and the sky didn't look too bad, so I was like, dude, we're keeping it. It was such a good take. And that was our day. At that, we had made day. We had made the goal for the day. So we were going to do the rest of the dancing on Friday. We were going to meet at Major's on Tuesday to do, like, the stuff with him in it. It was going to be a whole thing. And then it starts pouring rain. So we were like, fuck, man. So we were totally ready to, like, we've made day, we were totally ready to meet up on Friday, and we were like, let's go get dinner, because we're already on Commercial Street, there's food everywhere, and it's pouring rain, and it's, like, starting to pour rain really hard, we don't really want to drive in it right now, let's go get dinner. So we go to Cafe Cubano, and I eat a really good sandwich, it was great, we're talking about the movie, I'm catching up with Anna, dude, I love that kid, and we get out of Cafe Cubano, and it's bright outside. It stopped raining. So I look at Anna and I was like, Anna, what else do you have to do today? She was like, nothing. I was like, okay, we're finishing the dance portion of this movie today. Like, I couldn't ignore the luck that we were having of, like, the rain not getting to us. So I was like, dude, we're finishing it then, and then we don't have to meet on Friday. And she was like, perfect. And I was like, awesome. So then we drive to this, like, park off campus. And there's a couple things that happen in the park that she is dancing. She dances on the turned off fountain. There's, like, these rocks and these stairs and, like, the hills, and, like, the flower bushes. She, like, jumps over a bush at the end, and, like, it was a joke when she did it, but then I was like, wait, that's actually, like, really adorable. Like, please keep that in the movie. So then she did it every time. But yeah, so with our luck of the rain not ruining our film, we finished filming all on that Monday. It was crazy. It was, like, totally not in the plan, but, like, it was honestly so helpful. It was so helpful because we didn't have to worry about... There were so many, like, continuity things we then didn't have to worry about. And we still kept Friday open in case of reshoots. But, like, dude, the luck of, like, the weather working out for us like that was so beautiful. So we just ran with it. And we finished all of the choreography shooting in a day. Which, like, shout out to Making Day and then some. Like, it was a lot of fun. But, yeah, so we're in this park and... You know, this mom and her kids are kind of hanging out, and these kids start, like, screaming, trying to, like, get in the background of our movie, and, like, the way that we filmed it was, obviously we had the music playing and she was dancing, but then when I edited it all together, I muted all the clips and then re-edited the music on top of it. So there wasn't actually any audio in anything that you saw. The only audio that you saw that was, like, raw audio was... in, like, when they're acting, but, like, obviously, like, you can't, like, just, the only, I mean, I did edit in some Foley, which we'll talk about when we get to Major's apartment day. Hey, these kids were like, wow, and they were, like, making all these weird-ass noises, like, trying to get into our movie, and we were like, shut up, and it's fine. But yeah, and then, so, with the park, Jordan Valley Park that we filmed in, it very quickly became apparent that we were on concrete. And there was, like, this pirouette section, and it just, like, wasn't happening with the shoes. And, like, I would refuse... She had these red boots on, and I was like, I refuse to change the shoes. Those are so cool. Like, so it really became a moment of, like, choreography... Like, adaption to the environment that you didn't assume, like, you just didn't consider, because there are things that you don't know or aren't gonna work until they aren't working in front of you. So there's a moment on this, like, concrete, like, trail, and, you know, there was, like, different choreography, but then we switched it on set and adjusted it, and it still had the same, like, powerful, confident effect. And that was something that I also really learned on set, was, like, just being open to adapting things, being open to try new things. Like, a lot of the times, like I just said, you don't know that something isn't going to work until it's already not working. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize that, like, this concrete was not gonna be, like, because I had run the choreography outside, because it was, like, a thing that she's outside in the world, and I ran the choreography outside on my concrete, and I was chilling. But it's like, you know, you don't realize that things aren't going to work until they already aren't working in front of you. So, you know, just be light on the feet, adapt, you know, whatever. Have a good time with it. And so we adapted it, and we changed the choreography, and, like, the point still stands, and the emotion is still there, and the feeling and the message is still there. And I was like, dude, we did it. Nice work. And when we were filming that scene, there was this guy, like, running on the trail, and we were actually setting up between takes, like, when he was running. So we were like, dude, we're not filming right now, like, we're just setting up between shots, you're all good to go. And he was like, it don't bother me none. And we were like, okay, sir. And so he starts running, like, continuing his run, and he's, like, way, way out of the frame, so I'm like, okay, let's shoot it. So we're, like, seeing, I think it was, like, 7H at this point. We were like, 7H, take whatever. And he stops running and he turns around. And, like, he's like, watches us dance, and we cut the scene, and he's like, that was cool, guys. We were like, thanks. Like, honestly, the support of the citizens of Springfield, Missouri was really good. Like, I was honestly anticipating, like, parents and kids and, like, citizens to be like, why are these people filming in our park right now? Like, I was really expecting, like, not, like, visceral outrage, them to be like, stop fucking filming here. Like, I was just expecting a little more judgment, but, like, everyone was super cool with it, and, like, everyone that actually interacted with us, like, thought it was really cool. So, honestly, that was great. Shout out to the population of Springfield, Missouri. But, yeah, so we filmed it, we adapted the choreography, and then on the Tuesday, I had a rehearsal at 10 p.m., and I got off work at 7, and I was like, Major lives on in an apartment that's on campus. So I was like, Anna and Major, meet me at the apartment complex. So we go, and I have this 2.5 hour period between work and rehearsal, and I was like, we're getting it done. And because a lot of the stuff that happens in the apartment is very, very, like, minor stuff that happens. Like, it's the close-ups of her getting ready, it's her picking out the suit. Like, it's not anything super, like, big or dramatic that happens. And so, yeah. So we're in Major's apartment, and I'd never been in that building before. I have a friend that just moved in there. Shout out Maddie. I had a friend that just moved in there, and then I was like, why? I've never been inside one of the apartments, so it was kind of fun. So we start filming, and we had to kind of work backwards, because I was like, I don't want to make you change into the suit, like, 7 times. So we filmed all the stuff of her, like, she came in the suit. So we filmed all the stuff with her in the suit first, and we filmed all the stuff with her out of the suit last. She only had to change, like, once. It was really streamlined that way, but we filmed all the shots of her running, and it was, like, a last-minute vision that I had for her to grab the door and be like, everyone will love me! And then as the door is closing, it cuts to Major coming home and opening the door. It was, like, this vision I had on my walk over to the apartment. I was like, dude, that would be really cool, and kind of, like, come back to that, like, mansplaining part, but, like, more confident and, like, in her own voice now. So then we shot that, and it was really fun. And then, like, all the stuff in the bedroom was, like, a lot of fun. It was really fun to, like, decide what Major was gonna be doing, because until we really had the man in front of us, he was just kind of like, oh, the boyfriend wore the suit. Like, he was kind of a means to an end. He was, like, where the suit comes from. But it was really fun to see Major kind of, like, flesh out his character and, like, what he wanted to do. And he's like, can I read a book? And I was like, sure. Like, and there was a big conversation about what he wanted to do when he got home. Because, you know, she asks him, like, how was the match? And because it was going to be, like, he was in a band, like, Abigail Morris's story, and, like, how was the show? How was the gig? How was the set? You know? And then he was like, dude, I don't want to be in a band. And we were like, okay, that's fine. And, we were like, just pick something, like, how was work, you know, whatever. Just pick something, like, ambiguous. And so we were like, how was the match? Is what we landed on. So Anna asks Major about this, like, match that, like, it's like one of my favorite parts of the movie, because it's like, I like the ambiguity of it, because it's like, what kind of match? Was it, like, a professional sports match? Was it a screaming match? Was it, like, a Match.com date? You know, like it doesn't really matter in the movie, like, what he was doing. It just needed to, like, start the conversation and, like, prompt him to ask, how was the suit? But it was just, like, such a funny little gag that we came up with, and it was like, the audience will never know what Major was doing when Anna was, like, frolicking in the suit. And it was also really important to me that Major's suit was, like, not the only thing in the closet, but the only suit in the closet. It really spoke to me that his character, and, like, for no reason, it just really spoke to me that his character was, like, you know, he has this suit, but he only wears it when he really needs it. You know, like, he's not the kind of guy to have a job that he wears a suit. So not only is it shocking for him to be like, not only is it shocking for when prompted to pick anything out of his closet, she chooses a suit, it's also partially shocking for him to see the suit, because he so rarely even sees it on himself. In his mind, it just, like, lives on the hanger, you know? So, yeah, that was kind of the thing for his character, where he was just like, have fun, like, kind of nonchalant about it, a little bit surprised. But it was surprised not in a way that was like, why'd you do that? It was more just like, okay, rock on. And I just loved Major really served. And he's reading this book about, like, college. I think he was reading a book, like, about college, or, like things you should know about college. I don't know what he's actually reading. I think he's reading, let me find the book. He's like, I'm gonna read this book. And there was a joke where we're like, what if the book is, like, upside down? And it was, like, so funny. But then it was, like, there was also, like, that also turned into Anna reading Dune at the end. She just picked another book off the shelf and was like, I'll also read a book in bed when he gets home. Yeah, so, Anna was reading Dune, and then Major was reading The Naked Roommate and 107 Other Issues You Might Run Into College. And it's basically just like somewhat of like a college self-help anxiety lessening book. And it was just like a really funny thing. It's like, why do you have that? Like, it was just really funny to have like him that be the book that he's reading. It was just really sweet. Yeah, and then we filmed some Foley of Major's voice being like, yeah, just pick whatever. That's really the only voice that I kind of edited in on top, just because that shot needed to be like all of Anna looking back. But yeah, so that was our filming. We literally filmed this whole thing in 48 hours. It was really chaotic, but in like a good way chaotic. It felt very creative. It felt very supportive. It was really fun. So now we're circling back to where the tornado comes in. So we had really good luck with all of this stuff. So circling back to the first Monday that we filmed, we filmed, and I was like doing homework that night when we got home, and I like had all the footage and everything, and I was starting to upload the footage so I could then come and edit it at some point, but I was working on other homework, and I was like, okay, I'm going to bed, good night, and I'm like half asleep, and I start to hear the sirens, I don't even know what like whatever the tornado sirens sound like. And when you're half asleep and you start to hear something and your brain's like, oh, that's kind of weird, but you're not awake enough to like process it. That was me. So my roommate Caroline comes in and she's like, hey, wake up, like really soft, because she thinks I'm like dead asleep. Like, hey, we're gonna go downstairs, it's like the tornado sirens. And I was like, oh, okay. So I wake up and I'm like, whoa, what? And I like actually hear the sirens. I'm like, okay, here's the tornado that held out on us for filming. Like, thank you, Mother Nature, for holding out on us, but like, right. And also, this was before our apartment our apartment has like, you can only have all the heat or all the air conditioning like at one time. It's like a 2-pipe building or whatever they call it. And, it's like a 2-pipe building or whatever they call it. And so it was so warm, and it was getting warmer because of the like impending tornado. And it was so hot in our apartment that week. And the week before, and like that week and the week before, it was so hot in our apartment. So we're all sleeping in like shorts up our ass and like bras and like hair up super high. Like it was so hot. So me and Caroline are like, okay, so we're putting on shoes, we're putting on shirts. We're like, I'm literally wearing a pair of like spandex shorts like that are up my ass. I'm wearing a shirt from the American College Dance Association conference and like boots. Because I was like, I don't have time to like tie shoes if we're going to the storm shelter right now. Like I'm pulling on my boots and we're going. So I had this crazy fit on. I brought my phone with me, and we're sitting in the storm shelter, and MSU like puts out the alert that's like stay in shelter for like 45 minutes or whatever. So we were like, okay. And I was like, well, now that I'm like have this adrenaline coursing through me because I was woken up by a storm, let's start editing the movie. So I start editing the shots that we had taken that day, and I wanted to start with the like running and like the sort of end shots, because those had a really clear path. There were some that I was like, I don't really know what I want to do with these or like which ones to pick out, but while like there was really clear the ones that I wanted to use for that segment. So I went to start editing them. It was me, Caroline, and our friend Suha, and I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, because I did that first like spin transition, or like, I guess it's the second spin transition, but my lover would like to buy a flat in London. No, well, yes. Hold on. And I'm falling like it leaves in Leningrad, and she like turns and the camera spins with her, and like the transition like worked out so well. And I was in the storm shelter with all my friends, and I was like, ah! And Suha was like, dude, she was like, dude, that's so cool. And like the support of my friends on this film has been really fun. But yeah, so the start editing of this, I started editing this movie in the storm shelter with a pending tornado around me. So that was really exciting. Yeah, so we got it all filmed the next day. No one got hurt in the tornado, thank God. It was fine. But yeah, so then into editing, I started to learn a lot of stuff. I learned some very advanced. I used CapCut to edit this. Very unprofessional of me, I know, but I did not use any fancy like movie editing software. Please, I am broke. I had spent a total of like $4 on this movie. I was not about to buy movie editing software, so I used CapCut. And I learned some I did some Googling, and I learned some very like low-key professional things to do in CapCut. Honestly, I'm very proud of it. Because I also only have CapCut, like, the free version. I don't have, like, the pro or whatever. But literally, like, you just kind of have to mess around with it, and you can really get it to what you want it to be. So I was really proud of that. So I learned a lot of CapCut editing skills, which was honestly good. Like, because I use it to edit my TikToks and my Reels and stuff. So it was really good. Learned a lot of CapCut editing skills. And then about halfway through the editing process, Caroline and I had watched Call Me By Your Name, and like on Hulu, because we were like, oh, I remember like not seeing it when it was happening. Let's watch it now. And if you remember at the beginning of Call Me By Your Name, there's like those handwritten title cards, and I was like, dude, I want my handwriting in this movie. I don't know why, but that really struck a chord with me, and I was like, I want my handwriting in this movie. How cool would it be if like it wrote it, like it animated it? So then I got really stuck on the fact that not the title cards, but like it is a film by Taylor Hartman, starring Anna Schnockenberg, featuring Major Carden, are like the handwritten, I guess, title cards at the beginning of the film. And I got really into my heart that I was going to have it like animate, like have it look like it's writing itself. So I kid you not, 20 some odd hours learning how to learning how to animate handwriting in Blender. So I spend literally like 3 days working on animating my handwriting in Blender just for me to put it on the movie. Like I put it in the still, and I was like, I literally hate the way that looks. And I try to configure it different ways. I try to slow it down, speed it up, make it like I just hated it. I hated the way it looks. So then it's so stupid. I literally was like, dude, what did I learn all that for? And so I had like 20 hours of work kind of go down the drain because I couldn't get it to look how I wanted it to, and it was like too much motion. So I ended up just handwriting it and just making it like a still like overlay that kind of faded in. So I still have my handwriting in the movie. That was really important to me. It still got the message across. But yeah, no, that was a silly little gag I kind of wanted to talk about on the pod, was how I spent like 3 days learning how to animate in Blender just to realize that I hated the way that it looked. Oh god, it was so silly. But you know, I still got my handwriting in the movie. That was very important to me, for like literally no reason. I don't know why that was so important to me, but I really like the way it looks. It's a little personal, fun little touch. Yeah, so then I made these scrolling credits. I animated the scrolling credits all by myself, so that felt very fun. Yeah, I also used CapCut for those, so it was very interesting. I learned a lot of editing skills. I also learned a lot of sound mixing skills for this, you know, because I mixed in that Foley of Major's voice, and like when I fade the music in and out for like them talking, because the music is happening like while they're talking. Like there's that whole big beginning section, and then the beat drops and she starts dancing. So I learned a lot of like editing, like not voice, well I guess voice, but like like audio editing too as well. But yeah, the biggest L for this project was spending 20 hours learning Blender just to like hate it. That was pretty crazy. Yeah, that was pretty wild. But that was literally so stupid. No, but it was fun. Like it was fun to learn, it was fun to play around with, but it was also just kind of like, dude, I like just to like learn it and put a lot of love into it and then like not like it. I was like, bro, what is happening? Yeah, so I finished the movie in about a week. It took about a week to edit my movie, and then I made a poster for it. I made a trailer for it, and fun fact about the audio narration of the trailer, it's my voice, and what do I say? in it. I say something about, like, how Caesar... Well, I think I wrote down what I say. I could just read it to you, but you could also go watch the trailer. Well, I'm going to read it to you. I say, I've always loved movies and dancing and playing dress-up, so Caesar was kind of the culmination of all that. And then I changed what I said. I talked about, like, how it tells a tale of... You know, it was also a story close to my heart because it's about the very first time you wear a suit as a woman and how that makes you feel. And I was like, you just feel really cool doing it. You just feel super cool doing it. And so it was really close to my heart. And so I made a little trailer for it, and I posted the trailer, and I started making some behind-the-scenes TikToks, like our favorite slate words. Fun thing about the slate words, you're supposed to use the military alphabet, which is like Alpha, Beta, Delta, Charlie. I don't know what let me see if I can find what, like, I literally don't know any of them. Like, so it's like, all I know it's like Alpha, Beta. Oh, it's not even Beta? Stop it. Okay. I will read you the alphabet. The alphabet, the military alphabet is what from what I've learned on film sets, the military alphabet is what you use for when your scene has, like, a subsection, right? So, like, scene 5, shot A, or whatever. But the thing is, I don't know the military alphabet as, it's very obviously, it's obviously being shown. So on the set of The Startler, which I worked on in December, none of us knew the military alphabet, and we were the ones calling the slate. So it very rapidly turned into us just saying words that really, like, obviously start with that letter. So I was like, I'm taking that fun little angle and adding it to my movie. So we were just slating random ass words, but you're supposed to use the military alphabet, which goes Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, Juliet, Kilo, Lima, Mike, November, Oscar, Papa, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-Ray, Yankee, Zulu. Those are all words that very obviously start with the letter that you're talking about. And I don't know the military alphabet, so we all started, like, using just random words for it. Like, so I made a TikTok cut down of, like, my favorite words that we used. There's, like, Anchorage, bitch, what was C? Like, Cleopatra was, Major pulled out Cleopatra, which was really good. We had, like, dog sitter, or, like, dog sitter. We had, like, eggplant. We had, what was it? We had, one of them, for H, we had, like, an H at one point. It was, like, Hail Mary, or, like, hot and sexy. Like, they got really off the rails for a while. They got really off the rails. But fudge, that was a good one. And they got kind of off the rails, but it's a fun little touch to, like, hear what everyone comes up with, and, like, it kind of, like, if it's an especially funny one, it kind of, like, you know, sets the scene up, kind of, like, really exciting. To circle back to The Startler, we had a scene that was N, and one of our PAs was like, Scene 7, Negroni, and, like, it was so good. Like, Negroni was really good. Abracadabra is my personal favorite slate word for A. We also had, like, Ada Shelby, because we're, like, all of us on the set were, like, Peaky Blinders fans. So we were like, Scene 3, Ada Shelby. Like, the slate words are so funny to me. So I edit the movie, I make the trailer, I make a poster, I start editing some behind-the-scenes TikToks. We had some funny moments, like, we were like, Major, what if you just, like, kicked off your shoes and they, like, flew everywhere when you walked in? And there's this cut of that, but obviously it doesn't, like, happen in the movie. But it was just such a fun experience. And as I close this episode out, I just want to say that college is the time to try new things. Try new artistic endeavors. See what you like. See what you don't. See what sticks. See what you can learn. You know, like, and part of me wanted to do dance film because it is in line with something that I could see myself professionally doing. but I also just wanted to see if I could do it. I'm so serious. Like, I just wanted to see if I could do it. And I did. And I had a lot of fun doing it. And, oh, before I leave, I want to mention that the bulk of the final budget of the film was like $21.60 some odd cents, or 70 some odd cents. And that is because I promised Major that I would get his suit dry cleaned. And the dry cleaning cost like $17, which is fine. It was legitimately a lot less expensive than I was anticipating. Like, I was fully ready for this to be like a $60 endeavor, this dry cleaning. It was very cheap. Shout out Lloyd's Dry Cleaning on Sunshine. Yeah, so the budget of the film, in case you're wondering, came from dry cleaning Major's suit. Anyways, but yeah, try new things and you'll learn something from everything you do. I mean, I learned about like my choreographic voice. This is the first kind of like upbeat thing I've really set. I usually kind of set something slower and, like, moodier. But, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, just try new things. And if it sucks, and you learned that. But if you really loved it, then you have a new avenue. You know what I mean? Like, just try new things, and you never know what you're going to love. You never know what you're going to learn. It's such a fun time to, like, find your creative voice in a new medium as well. Like, it's just so fun, dude. Like, it's so much fun. And I would just really, really, really highly recommend just taking creative risks and doing things just to see if you can do them. I mean, that's kind of also why I started this podcast. You know, I was like, I really want to start a podcast. I think I have a good point for it. I have, like, a good base knowledge for it. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can keep going. And now we're, like, 40 episodes deep. And, like, we're on our second season. I've been doing this for, like, over a year now. And, like, start doing things to see if you can. Start doing things to see if you can, and you're going to learn some fun things along the way, and you're going to hang out with your friends, and you're going to make memories, and you're going to add stuff to the portfolio, and it's just going to be this, like, whole thing. And that's my biggest piece of advice if you're in, like, a BFA program right now. Take creative risks, learn things, start stepping into roles you have no business being in. Like, for the Startler, I had no business being the assistant director, but I learned so much just jumping in and, like, being willing to learn and jumping into it that I then took to directing my own dance film. Like, just start doing things. Start doing things you have no business doing. Learn along the way, make mistakes, get messy, create things that are really beautiful, and that's all. The coffee is kicking in now. But that's really all I have to add about it. Like, just start making art. Start making art in all genres. Start taking risks. Start doing things that scare you. It's going to be great, and you're going to learn. It's going to be beautiful. But, yeah. I think that's all I have to say about the movie. I hope you enjoyed this kind of behind-the-scenes look on the film. Please go watch it. It's on this YouTube channel. Caesar on a TV screen. It is on this YouTube channel. Please go watch it. Support your local artists. Support your dancers. Support your young female artists. Shout out The Last Dinner Party. And I think that's all. If you want to follow the journey, you can follow the podcast at BFA Baby Podcast. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Tata's Ballet. And I think that's all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Married in a Kiss. Mwah.